and it's kind of also, I have to say, a truth serum.
Hmm.
Because if you're I've witnessed parents say, "Oh, no, 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 we don't need the book. We don't need a book like that." And that tells me, bingo,
They probably, right.
there's stuff going on there, you know.
Yeah,
So it's kind of like I gotcha,
right,
you know, but in a sincere way where you need this book,
right.
you know, like if you're having reservation, well, you're not doing something right, and like as far as safety, and
Right.
you know that, you know.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever and wherever you are watching or listening. This is the Holistic Monitor, and I'm your host, Nick Sconia. The Holistic Monitor is a wellness podcast featuring life energy research, health and wellness transformation, self-improvement and empowerment, philosophy, spirituality, and now guest interviews as well. We look forward to your comments on our YouTube channel at Holistic Monitor, and you can also listen on the go with us at Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and more. And with that, let's get today's show started.
Right.
Sabrina Osso, you are an author, a speaker, and also a real estate agent. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So tell me about your work and what got you started in writing books.
Well, it's my only book that I wrote, the a children's book, and actually I have wanted to write this book for a while now, and it's going to be, or it is, a staple in what we're doing with real estate and preventing violence.
Okay.
Um, so we're going to use it as a it's an important component, especially to empower kids in residency.
Okay. Okay. Very good. So prevention of violence. That's the main focus of the book.
Yes, well, it's to teach kids the difference between respect and disrespect, safety and abuse, and
Okay.
to let them know that it's not their fault if they're seeing mommy, daddy fighting, or stepmom, stepdad, or if they're getting abused, that's not okay.
Right.
And that they're right to feel scared. They're right to feel like, wow, what's happening here? And we're letting them know that you have voice and you have choice. What we're introducing into the real estate industry is that children should have a choice on who they live with. We shouldn't wait until they're 18 years old to have that decision to
Mm.
make. Children know who make them feel safe. We're not talking about putting them into the workforce as toddlers or putting them behind a wheel to drive. They know who makes them feel safe, who makes them feel respected and good. So the book is about saying who that is. And if they're too scared to say, that's okay. We have a cheer that we're introducing in the book. It's called I Want to Live Where I Am Osso Safe, and I am Osso Safe with. And they get to say who that is. If
Mm.
it's not mom and dad, if it's not stepmom, stepdad, if it's an aunt, an uncle, a grandparent, a close family friend, to say who that is, and to keep saying it until it becomes true. So it's kind of like setting the stage for better, safer residency for
Right.
kids, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. And what inspired you to write this work?
Well, I am I've had enough therapy to be comfortable enough to say that I am a survivor of violence. My father beat my mother on a regular basis. My mother would beat me. So I know
Mm.
firsthand how hard it is, how difficult it is to live in that type of environment. So I would say, like the rest of us, we're all a work in progress.
Right.
And but actually, as I am healing from my own childhood, I'm kind of reliving it, unfortunately, because my niece
Mm.
is she's being abused,
Mm.
actually. So, and she's 11 and a half now, and I dedicated the book to her, and she actually was my inspiration to really move forward with the book.
Yeah.
And she read it and she was crying happy tears, and she said, she affectionately calls me Bina because as a child she couldn't say Sabrina, so she
Mm.
still calls me Bina. And she said, Bina, I don't like the book. I love the book.
No, that's great.
So it was kind of like a stamp, a kid's stamp of approval that I really needed
Yeah.
in order to I figured if she loves it, then other kids will too, and adults. It's very inclusive, Nick. Like the
Yeah.
book is not, it's not geared towards only kids that are not safe at home. It's also geared towards children that are safe at home. So I'm trying to
Right.
unify everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all within the book, and you're kind of inspired. It's almost like a healing book for you as well.
It is.
The knowledge that and maybe if you had had this book, that your situation could have been different, and
Exactly.
to have nobody else have to go through that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for making that point. Yes, I thought back as a kid, like, what did I need growing up? What would have made a difference in my life? So that's why we're introducing Osso Safe Certifications for properties,
Hmm.
where we combine education and technology to promote safety and prevent violence,
Right.
in particular in places of residence. And the book complements those certifications, like empowers kids, as I said. Um, because I want to say on your podcast, and you may or may not know this, but the laws, the courts, the judges, the child protective service agencies, they make horrible matters even worse.
Yeah.
And with our products and services, you don't need the courts. Everything gets resolved in residency where it needs to be resolved, because that's where it happens, right? The violence, the abuse, the chaos, the dysfunction. So we resolve it in residency. Everything else kind of takes care of itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Kind of nip it in the bud.
Exactly.
Go to the
Exactly.
source and
Right. Right.
yeah. Well, I know that I did real estate in Pennsylvania for 10 years, and during that time, there was I guess it was a law to become I can't remember the term for it, but basically, if you see something, say something, kind of law for child abuse. That was part of, I believe that was part of uh, the CEUs, that you had to have the 30-minute training in being a conscientious observer. Is that what it's called? Maybe something like that. Whereas if you see some kind of abuse going on, that you're called to make a call and get help for that person.
Oh wow,
Um,
that's
I
really
believe so.
good.
Yeah.
That's really good for it, because as agents we see a lot. We
Right.
come across buyers and sellers and renters and landlords, and we see a lot of crap.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah. Yeah.
and um yeah, and that's why we're introducing this into the real estate industry, the Osso Safe certifications, because residency needs to be safe. It
Yeah.
needs to be safe beyond the heat, hot water, electricity, central air. But if somebody's beating the crap out of you, or beating the crap out of your kids, or if there's any abuse of any kind, that's that does not make for good residency
Right.
all around. So
Right.
um so that's good. That's good. We don't I live in New Jersey. I'm close
Yeah.
to New York, and we don't have that here. We have something called Megan's Law,
Hmm.
named after Megan Kanka, that she was abducted, kidnapped, and then raped, and 6 years old, and
Six
then
years old.
killed.
Wow.
Yeah, in New Jersey, in fact. This was in the early 1990s, I
Hmm.
believe.
Okay.
And so there's Megan's Law, but it's like, to tell people if there's a sex offender, that you can let them know. Or actually, as agents, we're not allowed to tell them they have to do their own research, but we
Right.
make them aware that there is such a law. They could do their own due diligence,
Right. Right.
which kind of is silly. I mean, why can't we say it as agents? Like, I would think that would be the obligation, but
Yeah.
instead it's more like keep it hush hush, just point them to the law,
Right.
let them do their own research.
Yeah, it does sound
So,
like that. Yeah.
right.
That it's basically like you know, it's up to them to figure it out. That's kind of like the here's the lead disclosure. This
Right,
house is older than
exactly.
78. There might be lead in the paint. Here's the disclosure. That's all I'm required to do. Um,
Right,
but I mean, in that, of course, you can recommend that they get the paint tested or something like that. But um,
right.
you know, once you get into, I think that the realm that it's too new for the laws. Like the laws really haven't caught up with, um, or trying to catch up with abuse, you know, but it's not really
Yes.
evolved. It's not really an
Oh,
evolved situation.
that's a very good point. Yes. In fact, I had consulted with an attorney about a year and a half ago regarding my niece's situation, and he said the very same thing. It's like as
Yeah.
if the laws are still in the 1950s and 60s, and they're not up to date to
Right.
2023 by any stretch of the imagination. And
Yeah.
that's why we created the products and services that we did, because enough is enough. I was one of those kids just
Right.
suffering. You're stuck with your abusive parents, abusive step parents. And why, if there's someone that could take them in, and the child wants to go to that person,
Right.
why not nip it in the bud? Like you said, why wait till they're 18? And quite frankly, that's too late.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's then we wonder why there's school shootings, and why there's so much sex abuse, and why there's so many kids committing suicide and bullying, and it's all connected, it's all related to home violence,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. And it's a vicious circle, and a lot of those issues have multiple prongs to them, but if
Right,
you can eliminate the abuse that may cause the trauma, it's an ongoing kind of thing where it just keeps getting passed down. If this is, as we see a lot of memes that'll say the abuse stops with me, and it's basically saying that they were abused, but they have
right,
made a pact with themselves that they won't do that to their kids, because
right,
it's known that it's not like this isn't appropriate. It's not appropriate to hit a child before they even know what's going on. you know,
right,
it happens really
right.
young, and it's like you can't bother spanking them when they're very little because they don't even understand what's happening. You
Right,
know.
right. And there's plenty of studies that say, spanking is the worst way to discipline, or it's abuse. I mean,
Yeah.
discipline, as we say at Osso Safe, discipline instills education, and abuse instills fear.
Right.
So there's a big difference. And discipline, the child knows that they're loved. The child knows that they did something wrong, and they know, oh, I gotta fix it, and there's no shame behind it, and they're not scared. But abuse is an entirely different, uh
Yeah. Realm.
that's not what you want to do.
Right.
you know so um yeah, so excellent point that you're making. Right, they don't even know what happened. Like, I just got smacked, I just got beaten the
Yeah.
crap out of, and for what? Because I dropped something, because I spilled
They don't know.
some
They,
milk,
they just
or
can't put it together. It's
right,
when they're too young. They're too young. It's just
right,
no. There's no connection. But I
right.
would say that the abuse probably starts because of the situation with the parent probably being abused. That the abuse
Yes,
probably starts very very young, and just leads into young adulthood, and
right,
that's how they think that the world is, and that to them is the discipline. And there has been a major paradigm shift, because if you look at popular culture, um, 10, 20, 30 years ago, it was just assumed, maybe even further back than that, assumed that you're going to get spanked, and it might be with an implement. You know, I know I was spanked with a wooden spoon. You know, and that's just that was how it was done. You know, and if you asked other people, it may have had, you know, harder implements. Or you go out in the yard and you pick your own stick to get, you know, the switch. It's a fairly widespread phenomenon. But with the, you know, raising or elevating the consciousness and knowledge of what that, when that would be, why that's happening, and you know, the appropriateness or non-appropriateness of doing that. There's definitely camps where people definitely support the idea of doing it, and again, it doesn't really discipline with word. An example is really the best route to go. Physical
Right.
harm is just, you know, again, it goes back to the old, you know, the old ways. It goes back really deep into, you know, how people treated other people and how
Right.
they treated their kids. And, you know, you could say that the spanking thing, which is, it just seems innocent in its sound, is something that's passed down over and over and over again. It's a hereditary trauma in a sense.
Yes, yes, it is. And it was wrong then and it's wrong now because I think back, I'm Italian,
Yeah.
and a lot of this is like spanking is cultural, right? Well,
Right.
in my culture, in my nationality, my household, whatever, I got spanked, my grandparents got spanked, and
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
to say, looking back, I would have understood if I just got yelled at or just even a look.
Right.
Like I didn't have to get beaten the shit out of,
No.
or like I didn't have to. I would have gotten it. Like if I don't know, if I slammed the door, if I cheated on a test,
Right.
I didn't have to get beaten to death. Like
Yeah.
I would have gotten it if I was disciplined. Like, look, this is not the way you do things. We're going to take away the TV or take away. It didn't have to get to physical violence. Especially
Right.
as a child. As a child, your body size is
Very different.
is
Right.
yes, much smaller than your parents, so it's very traumatic. I mean, my mother, she would just one whack across my face and I felt
Mm-hmm.
like my face just shot out of my
Yeah.
existence,
Right. Right.
so yeah, so we really need to do better. And part of the Osso Safe certifications is education, where everybody gets educated on facts, statistics, warning signs, definitions of abuse, the difference between abuse and discipline, what constitutes a good relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Really, all of these things that you kind of take for granted, but a lot of people don't know. And it needs to be a practice. It's not just one and done. So
Right.
we kind of lay the groundwork. Now that pulling your partner's hair
Hmm.
is abuse.
Right.
You know that calling your partner a whore, a tramp, that's
Mm-hmm.
verbal abuse.
Right.
So there's no excuse anymore. And it's a practice, Nick. It's not
Yeah.
just one and done. We all
No.
have
No.
to
Yeah.
practice safety. We all do.
Right.
So
And
if
it's
you're
respect too.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. That's the main ingredient. I'm glad you said that. It's the main ingredient in any household that's safe,
Yeah.
respect.
Right.
And we talk about it in my children's book, because I really thought long about this, long and hard. And I said to myself, that's it. That's the main ingredient, respect.
Yeah.
And there's so many parents that do respect their children and the children respect them. The households are safe. It's
Right.
about positivity, empowerment, encouragement.
Yeah.
But there's many households that have it so wrong and backwards, and we're all paying for that, because if
Right.
you think about it, all the school shooters,
Mm.
if you trace their home life, they come from violence, they
Mm.
come from abuse.
Oh,
So
okay.
now we're all paying the price for not making home safety a priority. So now we have to, because the school shootings, that it's like, especially in this country, it's
Yeah.
just nonstop,
That's
so
yeah, it's insane. It's
yeah,
absolutely insane. I didn't
yep,
know that there was a common denominator with abuse, in-home abuse. Uh,
yeah,
but I mean, I can imagine based on the outcome of what they're doing,
right,
that there has to be some kind of uh, similar source of an issue.
right.
And that is a pretty good one. Violence at home, violence in the world, you know. Um,
Right.
so does the book go into practical steps for people that maybe they have it in their mindset that this is the way that they discipline is with, physical abuse or physical touching, let's just say even that, um,
Right.
or
Uh,
training or discipline via the physical. Is there practical steps to get them to kind of not just see the light, but actually, hey, here's how we get from where you're at to where you would want to be, respecting your children respecting you.
right. Yes. I say in the book, abuse or not being safe is when someone is kicking, punching, hitting, yelling, screaming, saying lots of bad things to you or to somebody in your home. And I have illustrations.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I say safety in your home is about hugging, helping, laughing, and caring. Everybody deserves to be safe in his or her own home, especially you kids. So, and I go into like breathing techniques and that it's okay to get angry
Right.
sometimes, but healthy ways to express those angry feelings is punching a pillow
Mm.
or writing your angry feelings on post-its, and I
Right.
literally have, like post-its in like showing it in the book and that we at Osso Safe need to come to your school and educate on the subject. And then I have a picture, an illustration in the book of where the parents and the kids are in the audience and I'm speaking to everyone and the
Yeah.
teachers. And so this is like a group effort. It's everybody's got to be on the same page, the parents, the students, the teachers. And what I'm saying in the book, and I'm doing it through illustrations that I don't know if you could see, but like every property needs to get Osso Safe certified. So I don't know if you could see,
Cannot
like I
see. Yeah,
have
there you go. There you go. Now I can
like
see the
schools,
buildings there. Yep.
right, and any type of residency, whether you live in an apartment building, a regular single family home, a two-family home, a mansion, the the logo gets placed because it's also safe certified. So there, everybody gets educated, a policy is signed,
Mm-hmm.
there are therapists assigned to the property. It's all part of the certification. So I am introducing it in the children's book, and then we elaborate on it in further seminars, if you will,
Right.
further workshops. So yeah, it's a practice, it's repetition, and this is really how residency should be. You
Yeah.
know, we should be beyond the barbarian, savage beast way
Right.
of raising our kids and raising ourselves. I mean, we need to be talking about issues. We need to be um, uh, communicating. Uh, and yes, it's there are subjects that are difficult to talk about, and you are going to fight with your spouse, with your significant other, but it should never cross the line of abuse, not verbal, not physically, not
Yeah.
sexually, at
Right.
any point in time. So
Right.
it's kind of just laying the foundation. This is how residency should be, and you don't get released the keys to the residents until you are Osso Safe certified.
Mm.
Basically, you get educated, you sign the policy. We renew it every year, so we review everything every year. And quite frankly, I have to say this has been long overdue,
Yeah.
long overdue. You
Yeah.
know,
Absolutely. But again, the awareness is definitely increased to a level where people are becoming more accountable for themselves and want the respect, like yourself, want to see the respect being, being meted out within other families too. It's just the awareness is, and I think our ability to be in touch with people is also increased. So we're seeing more of things in what people consider to be the norm, which again could go back to the Middle Ages as far as how they deal with discipline, or further back than that. So the book has ways. Is it the resource, or are there resources in the book for people to in case they need more information inside the book? They say, okay, well, is there somebody I can talk to about this?
Uh, the the book will guide you to my website
Okay.
and to my I believe my email. But I mean, the resources out there, yes, you could call you the 1-800 numbers, right? And go to a shelter and go to the police and file
Right.
a report and hire a lawyer, hire a mediator, uh, go through child protective service. We don't have any of that in the book because it's geared towards empowering children.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, and I have personal and professional experience with this, the laws, the courts, the judges, the child protective service agencies, they make horrible matters even worse.
Right.
And I say this with confidence. And we feel that get your property Osso Safe certified, get yourself Osso Safe certified. You won't need the courts. You won't
Right.
need any judges. You won't need to hire any expensive attorneys because it gets resolved right in residency where it happens. You know, any gunshot, stabbings, verbal, physical, sexual abuse, essentially it happens in the four walls that you live in. So
Right.
why don't we concentrate on that? Why don't we concentrate on people's residency behind those closed doors? Concentrate on the people and making the property safe, which means making you safe. You know,
Right.
you practicing safety, you and your children,
Right.
and you won't need the courts. And then we feel that the courts will follow our example, our model, if you will.
Yeah.
Um, so I hope I answered the question as
Yeah.
far as resources. And we are not nonprofit. We do respect the nonprofits that deal with domestic violence. We don't even like to call it domestic violence. We
Yeah.
prefer to say home violence. It's
Right.
more inclusive.
Yeah.
Um, and but this needs to be a paid service because that way it gets resolved.
Yeah.
When you put a dollar sign on something, it'll get resolved. It'll be on people's priority
Right.
versus waiting for donations. That's never worked. I mean, here we are in 2023, and 5 children a day in this country alone get murdered
Yeah.
at the hands of an abusive parent under the watch of a so-called child protective service agency.
Mm. How
That
about that?
is that is inexcusable, unacceptable.
Yeah.
So we feel that making residency safer, better is the way to go.
Yeah. Start with the parents
Right,
and the children,
right,
and get the seed going,
right,
so that there's some, because it's not the visitations through for child protective services or whatever it is that they do. It's, I've heard from, other stories where it just didn't work. They came
right,
in, they said, how's everything going, is everybody happy, and then they left, or whatever it was. If they didn't just do a drive-by and go, oh, looks good. you know
right,
um,
exactly, right.
there's
Or
definitely been
even
cases of that.
right, and child protective services, it's like they put too much attention, or it's like they get the wrong parents. Like
Yeah.
they take away children from good parents or like the aunts, uncles, grandparents who want to take them in,
Right.
and then they put them in the hands of the abusive father or the
Right.
abusive mother. Or
Yeah.
I mean, it's like backwards. It's like what are you basing this on? You know, what is wrong with you? Um, Even if there's pornography involved, sex abuse. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
everything is right in front of you. The evidence is right there. Connect the dots. It's right there. It's not complicated. But like I said, it needs to be resolved in residency where
Yeah.
safety becomes a required standard condition of residency.
Hmm.
This is what we are creating, what we are focusing on in residency. Safety becoming a required standard condition of residency for all, no matter
Yeah.
where you live, no matter what your situation is. That's what is necessary,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Well, I really like what you're doing. I think it's
Thank you.
very honorable work, and it's definitely a hard task.
Yeah.
And, it's going to take a lot of outreach. Where can people find the book?
Amazon.com, and it's also on Target.com and
Hmm.
Barnes and Nobles. But yeah, it's my only book, so it's easy to find. Sabrina
Okay.
Osso or Home Safe Home for You and Me, and it comes right up. And yeah,
Excellent.
thank you.
Yeah, I'll put a link in the description for the to get in touch to get the book, and it's something that friends and family can get for other family members that have kids, maybe that already know that there's abuse in the house,
Right,
something like that, where they can say, this would be a good read for you to get on the right path, you know, to start seeing the light and maybe change the ways that they discipline.
right, right.
Yeah,
Yes, in fact, yeah, like I said, I try to be inclusive. Like I have a little notation in the back, like it's for kids, whether you're safe at home or not safe at home. This book is for you. Know
right.
that your voices are powerful and that you do have choice. And then another little notation for grandparents,
Mm,
grandparents, parents, and teachers. Use the book as a tool to educate you and the children in your lives about how important it is to practice respect and safety in the home.
yeah, yeah, that's
So
perfect.
it's we try to just apply it to everybody because everybody lives somewhere. So
Right.
why not make it for everybody?
Yeah, it's family that usually knows what's going on.
Right,
In a lot of cases, they just they don't know what to do. Um, if they don't openly support it, if they don't support it, then this provides them a way to kind of get something in and begin a process of healing.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes, yes. And it's kind of also, I have to say, a truth serum
Hmm.
because if you're I've witnessed parents say, "Oh, no, 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 we don't need the book. We don't need a book like that." And that tells me, bingo,
They probably right.
there's stuff going on there, you know.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I gotcha,
Right.
you know, but in a sincere way where you need this book,
Right.
you know, like if you're having reservation, well, you're not doing something right, and like as far as safety, and
Right.
you know that, you know,
Well, I think it's important also within kids' books, within the way that kids read and love to learn and
right,
want to know more about things in the world and what their parents do, and you know they want to be an adult, um, but they also want to be empowered. You know, they
yes,
look to the parents as like the gods. They're
right,
like worshipped. You know what I'm saying? But if there's this angry exception, then it really makes it more like Zeus, an angry god that's throwing lightning bolts, and that's not fun. The kid
right,
wants to be empowered to be able to respect the parents as much as they feel like they should be respected too, as a person, a little person. You know,
right, right,
so it's really important from the kid's perspective to start at that point where they can reflect and say, this is the way I would like things to be done in my house, because it's also their house.
that's
you
right,
know,
that's right, Nick, very well said. Yeah, it's their right, it's their house
it's
too,
their
right, I
house
like
too.
that.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. That would make a good title actually of
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's well
Yeah.
said. Yeah, it's right, right,
It's my
it's
house too.
that's right, that's right.
Right.
Yeah,
But it is. I mean, they feel comfortable. They should feel comfortable, and just like the parents want to feel comfortable and safe in their own home,
Right.
So does the kid. The kid's having all these learning experiences and memories from living in this house. This is what they're going to grow up and how they're
Right.
going to approach the whole world. And
That's right.
it's important that they're empowered to feel that respect is something that they can find in the world. It's something that they see, and that's something that they should also give as well
Right.
through the,
Right.
it's like the mirror factor. They learn from their parents just about everything.
Right.
So, if the kid
Right.
gets this book and they're like, hey, what's this all about? Read me this book. Then the
Right.
parent's reading the book, and it's, hopefully that's the way it works.
Right, right. Yes, and
Yeah,
I like that you said that that the if they have fear, then shame and guilt and
all the
anger
stuff.
sets in and everything. And whereas if they're empowered, then they will live their best life. They will make
Right.
good choices and do what they were meant to do instead of everything becoming a chore and the weight of the world on them
Right.
and then they'll make bad choices and it's
Mm-hmm.
just a recipe for disaster and where we all share this planet. It's in our best interest to make safety a priority in the
Right.
home, and we will all be better off for it in every sense of the word, just like what you're saying.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I agree with that completely. Yeah, the experiences are all laden with trauma. So the choices that they make are all laden with trauma.
Right.
And their life then, so it makes it a very weedy yard to work with, in life as they move forward in life and make their own decisions. But
Right.
again, I love that you're doing this, and it's a fantastic approach to get the message into the family and to begin the healing process where love really is, which is in the family, which is in this unit of this group. I think that's a great method of delivering a healing message.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the
Yeah.
positive feedback. We really appreciate that. Um, yes, yes.
Yeah.
That's
Definitely.
all. It's actually
It's
very
awesome.
simple. It's
Right.
very simple. You don't abuse me. I don't abuse you.
Right.
You would think that that's simple, right? It's
Yeah.
simple, but holy cow, for so many households, it's just not, and
Right.
and and it's just it needs to be as a see, because the problem is we always put the responsibility of safety in the victim's hands,
Right.
whereas with what we're doing at Osso Safe, it's kind of like it's everybody's responsibility.
Yeah.
So it's not just on you, especially as a child. I mean, a
Mm-hmm.
child, how is a child supposed to save themselves? and
Right.
and 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 that's why we're saying, look, everyone has failed you, kids. Everyone, the lawyers, the courts, the judges, the child protective service agencies. You have your voice. Trust it. And we are creating the door, we're creating the window. Go through it any which way you can. Whoever you say you're safe with, that's who is going to get you at school, take you home. And we believe that if enough children speak out, then it'll be all over the news, all over the media, and people will have to listen because enough kids are speaking out. And let's try it. Let's try it, because what we have been doing has not been working. So let's
Right.
try this and empower kids and their voices, and um, they'll be better off. and
Yeah.
and and that's how it should be. Let's not wait until they're 18 years old. It's just
Yeah.
ridiculous
Well,
to
and
wait
then
till
they're free to
then.
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
18. It's like, okay, well, good luck.
Right.
You're already
Exactly.
set up with all your traumas and you know.
Exactly.
Uh,
Exactly. You
yeah.
understand. I could
Oh
tell.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
I mean, anytime that you can get into the uh, lower age to understand and have clarity and gain smart methods to live life. The kids are the ones that this is when you do it when they're really young.
Right.
And something that's really smart is respect. It's just a really smart way to live life.
Yep.
And it will bless you if you're living your life in that realm where you're giving respect and you also expect it. I feel like
Yes.
that is a really balanced approach to living. It gives yourself a lot of self love, which is very important, and makes you also able to love better because it goes hand in hand with respect. I mean, that's
Yes.
so if you can gain that kind of knowledge at a young age and kind of begin to implement the way of action, to begin to act on that level of getting respect, asking for respect,
Right.
wanting respect, and then of course giving that respect to your classmates. That is a good way to be a leader. And I think I just was seeing something. It was saying that when kids are left to go out into the woods and hang out like classes outside, the troublemakers tend to turn into leaders. They tend to turn into people that guide other kids to do things, to like look at the bugs in the creek or whatever. They tend to fall into a natural leadership role, and it's this model that being cooped up in the classroom quite possibly is a detriment to kids who want to be free to express. If you add into that the at home, the lack of trauma, the 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 giving of respect and the giving of love at home, and then you take that to school, those same natural leaders who might be the troublemakers also have a way to transform that energy to their classmates and just be a more dynamic leader. And leadership, uh, that's like a life thing. That's the way that you approach life. We're all leaders at some degree or another within our own life. Some of us are just more naturally inclined to it, and there's clear reasons for that, and then others just don't like that position. But we all have it because we have to live. Being able to do that with respect and with love for our fellow people, that's
Right.
dynamic. It's huge. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And right, you said so many great points, and freedom is a two-way street.
Yeah.
Respect is a two-way street.
Right.
Uh, um, Choice is a two-way street. So, yes, and we are all leaders. We're all role models,
Right.
whether we
Right.
like it or not.
Role
Especially
models.
if we are parents,
Right.
any children in our lives, if we're aunts, uncles, grandparents, parents, step parents. Children are watching. They are
Yeah.
listening. They are imitating everything, everything,
Everything. Yeah.
everything. So make it good.
Yeah. Make it good. I love that.
For the love of everything good on the earth, make it good, because they'll repeat good. You
Yeah.
make it bad, they'll
That's
repeat bad.
They'll give it
That's
right back
it.
to you. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Exactly. Well, that's fantastic. Well, thank you for being here and giving me the opportunity to share what you're doing. I think
Thank
it's
you.
really, really worthwhile, and I hope it spreads.
Thank you, Nick. Yes, that's why we do these podcasts, all these interviews and speaking engagements. Thank you for allowing us to be on your show. And um, the more exposure, the better. That way,
Right.
people know that we exist, what we're doing. And yeah, we greatly appreciate the opportunity.